Fuck, or stupid notification. What up? Sorry about that. This is my. I had to do a third take because stupid notification thing went off. But we are here to talk about Lethal Weapon 4, and is my second favorite in the franchise. I think this one is just really good. Like, you have Chris Rock added, and I know some people say he's the weakest part of the movie. I think he's fine. I think his character is serviceable. Riggs and Murtaugh are great. You know, it's, what, 6 years after the third one, so they took a bit of time. But in my opinion, you have the best bad guy of the four movies. Wasim Koo, played by Jet Li. I think he fucking kills it as the bad guy in this. He's just evil. I think he's like the most evil too of the bad guys, in my opinion. And just all around, it's a fun movie. It's a good, like, almost the last one. I know they were talking about doing a fifth one, but with what happened to Richard Donner, R.I.P. Richard Donner again, I don't think they're going to do that now. So I'm kind of content with this one being it. I mean, the fifth one would have probably been with the kids, because they have kids in the end of this film. But for me, I just think this one ends it perfectly, you know? They give birth to kids. They kind of retire now. They beat 4 bad guys. I don't really feel like it needs another one. I'm open. I was only open to it because Richard Donner was coming back, but then unfortunately what happened. So, cheers, and we'll get started. So we get started with this film with a fun little opening where this guy in, like, I'm assuming is like some flame retardant suit who has a flamethrower, is basically in downtown LA causing havoc, and Riggs and Murtaugh have to stop him. And I think this is just another funny opening. I love the opening of these movies, especially the last two, 3 and 4. Like, they just kick off because you get, like, the banter, but they're in the middle of something. Like, they're trying to stop this guy, but this is where Riggs tells Murtaugh that his daughter is pregnant, and that he's gonna be a granddad, and then Murtaugh tells Riggs, shit. Anyway, he tells Riggs that he's gonna have a kid because Lorna's pregnant. So they manage to beat the guy who's attacking the cops. And then we kind of open the film with them on the boat where Murtaugh asks Riggs about marriage, because if he wants to marry Lorna, because they're going to have a kid, but clearly, you know, Riggs is not ready. And it's almost setting up that that him and Lorna are going to get married. They set this up pretty well. Then another ship, because they're on Murtaugh's ship, boat. Another ship shows up, which is carrying basically slaves. They hear shots, Riggs goes on, you have a big action scene, but the bad guys get away. And then that was it, really, in that opening. Then you get, like, a little bit of more banter between Riggs and Murtaugh. This is where they introduce Butters, which is Chris Rock's character. I actually thought he was a funny character. And he's clearly sucking up to Murtaugh for some reason. And so that kind of is that. Then we were introduced to Lorna. They try to talk, her and Riggs try to talk about their relationship, if they're going to get married. And he kind of says he's not ready yet. Then Lorna tells him that Butters is the one who got Murtaugh's oldest daughter pregnant. So then they head over to the Murtaughs, and it turns out that Roger, took the immigrants who were basically slaves. They took them, and this is where we're introduced to Wasim Koo, Jet Li's character, and it's just really good. Like, he starts off, like, and that's the other thing I like, he doesn't say much in this movie. He has, like, a few bits of dialogue, but he doesn't have, like, a lot. He's very just quiet, and then when he does speak, it's in Chinese, and So we're introduced to Mr. Benny, and who works for Wasinku. So that's kind of basically what happens. Is Murtaugh has the I'm just gonna say the immigrants, and you clearly are him Murtaugh, and the I'm assuming he's like the main head of that immigrant family, are having like a connection. So they're clearly building that. Then they confront Uncle Benny at his restaurant, and then you get with Butters, and you get kind of a funny little scene where oh, and then before that, there's like a funny little scene with Leo, where Leo thinks Butters is like a perp, and they have a little funny back and forth. It's really like I love the characters in these, and that's like the thing you pretty much have seen in all my reviews of these movies. It's just they're fun. They're just dialogue between everybody. It's just so fucking great. So they go to the restaurant, confront Uncle Benny, and he denies having anything to do with having the slaves there, and they kind of trash his office, and then the bits of dialogue you do get from Jet Li's character, it's in Hong Kong, you'd be dead. Like, that's pretty much all. That's his real dialogue. So while Riggs, Murtaugh, and Butters are on the way out, they see the guy who escaped earlier in the film. So Riggs chases him, and then Butters chases another guy who's actually working at the restaurant, but he just runs for no reason. So you get a funny little chase scene. The music's really good. The guy Riggs chasing manages to get away, and Riggs ends up getting hung up, so he had to basically drop a new trash can. You have a funny little banter between the three of them and the one other guy who ran. It turns out he actually works at the restaurant. He just ran for no reason. And then Wasinku kills the guy really brutally. Like, just fucking, you get a quick fight scene, and just the guy, every attack he tried to hit Jet Li, which just blocks it, and then just chokes him out with a fucking like a necklace, and then so this is where I think the Triad people capture the family when they're back at Murtaugh's house. And hold on, stupid ass helicopter. Sorry if I go silent, it's just a stupid helicopter. So Wasinku's people capture the family. Riggs and Murtaugh try to stop it, but then they end up getting overtaken by the Triad people. They tie everybody up, and they pretty much end up burning the house down. But they left one thing, which is this kid. And they break the family out. And then Riggs and Murtaugh try to chase the two Triad guys. And you have a fun little chase sequence on the freeway where Riggs gets into, like, it's like this RV thing, and you get another fight scene where Riggs pulls out the one guy, and you get a kind of a cool fight, and then continue the chase, and then the guy ends up dying because he gets hit by a truck. Then they go back to the house, and then they go with Butters because they told Leo to follow Uncle Benny. And Uncle Benny's at the dentist right now. So they go, and throughout the film, Butters is sucking up to Roger, and we know why. Is because he's clearly secretly married and got his daughter pregnant, but Riggs makes him. He's basically, they don't outright say it, but they're basically making it seem like Butters has a crush on him because he's gay. It's really funny. Could not do it that today. You could not do that joke today. It'd be called homophobic or some shit. So it was really funny. And then they go to the restaurant. They get Uncle Benny high on like that whatever they do at that Dennis. Can't think of the name right now. It's like Happy Gas or whatever. Laughing Gas. So that Uncle Benny basically tells them the plan, and Butters admits what's going on, and then they get caught and they end up walking out, and then fucking Riggs and Murtaugh basically tell them, and they all start talking to their fellow police officers, and one of them, who's, I don't remember the cop's name, who actually, he actually worked on, his name is Ing, Detective Ing, who tells them that this guy has killed families, and this really dope scene. So Wasing Ku's plan is he wants to get his brother out because he was arrested by the Chinese government. So he basically wants to get this certain family because this dude's uncle can make fake dollar bills because he's an artist. So basically Chinese dollars. I think it's yen. I think it's what it's called. So fake money. And the one scene where the guy Roger was talking to gets brought in and sees his uncle. His uncle says, I won't work until you get my family relocated. And fucking Jet Li, with the quickness, just grabs him and then breaks his neck. It's like, dude. And then he's like, get back to work. And he has like a smile on his face. He's like, get back to work, man. It's just like, wow. Dude, it's brutal. Like, with the quickness he grabbed that dude. It's like, Jet Li was effective. So, Detective Ing, back to the scene I was talking about earlier, informs Riggs and Murtaugh, get your families safe because this guy does kill families. Also, Wasing Ku kills Uncle Benny because he knew too much. So there's a sequence where Riggs and they have the kid and Lorna are kind of discussing if they're actually ready to get married, and she is, but she's basically saying, I'm ready when you are, basically. Then earlier in the film you saw a scene where this guy did a deal with Uncle Benny, gets killed by the Yakuza, but I keep saying not Yakuza, by the Triads in a car because they pretty much rammed his car in front of a running train. So they try that again, but it fails, and the guy gets ran over. Riggs meets up with Roger and the other cops. They learn of the plan and they realize that Wasing Ku and the Triads are using fake dollar bills to get his brother out of prison. So they go, and you have pretty much the final act here now, where they go to the warehouse where the deal is happening. Roger and Riggs arrive just in time to inform he's like some Chinese leader that the dollar's fake. He shoots somebody, big shootout happens, really fun little action scene. Unfortunately, not for me, unfortunately, but unfortunately, I guess for Roger and Riggs, Wasing Ku's brother gets shot in the scuffle. So now we have like the final fight, and you have a funny little moment where they're kind of like stalling. It's like, kind of acting like, okay, guy, we're not gonna fight this guy. We're about to have kids, and he tells Riggs you're about to have a kid, and that Roger's about to be a granddad, and it's a really funny little thing. Because earlier in the film, like he's able to like break apart, disarm guns, like break them apart. It's really fucking great. It's just early Jet Li, is fucking great. So now we have the final fight. Really good final fight. Probably the best final fight of the movies. Really well done. Murtaugh ends up stabbing Wasing in the chest with the... I think he grabs like part of like... it's like the thing in the ground when it gets pulled out. It's like a pipe, I think. Some kind of pipe. And then, but Jet Li ends up grabbing Riggs with him, so Riggs seemingly oh, is he gonna die? But Roger saves him just in time. And then the next day, Riggs is paying off. He basically saying, "I'm ready to marry his wife." He's talking to his dead wife in the at the graveyard. Leo and him have a good moment, you know, talking about how much basically how much they mean to him. It's a really well done movie. It's almost not gonna say emotional, but because this, I think originally this was gonna be the last one. It almost does feel like an ending. You know, Riggs is about to get married again. He's about to make that big step. Roger's about to be a granddad. It does feel like an ending. So they go to the hospital because Lorna's about to have the baby. They get a quick wedding. Then Lorna has the baby. Then both babies are born. And then like you have the big family picture in the end, and then it ends with "Why can't we be friends?" This is an awesome way to, and also even the way it ends, like when it gets to the credits, it's like shots from like I don't remember if it's just this movie or if they actually showed the other movies, like from behind the scenes pictures. Like it looks like this is the last one. It's like, oh, here's like all the memories and stuff. It's just, this is an awesome film. I think it's just like once again, it's a fun film. The action's ramped up. Riggs and Myrtle have great chemistry. So Lorna's awesome, even though she doesn't do a lot in this movie. It's because she's pregnant, so they can't just be having her. She has a quick fight scene, like, and then I should have mentioned that Jet Li had no problem kicking a pregnant woman. Like he kicked Lorna with the quickness. Like, yeah, this movie was just to show off Jet Li's choreography. That's all this movie was made for, and I'm here for it. It was just here to show his. Fucking, and he was definitely the one I would say that they had the hardest time, because the other ones like Jack Travis, that there wasn't really a fight. They had a bit of a fist fight. Then he tried to get into like a bulldozer and try to ram Riggs. The first one there was a fight, so the first one is like the only one where I feel like there was a real fight. I mean a bit in the second one, but then that was the secondary bad guy. But in this one, it was like there was a challenge, because he was just, that initial few minutes, fucking Jet Li was beating both of their asses. It's like everything they tried, he just like fucking. I fucking love this movie. 8 out of 10. I just love all these movies, and I think this movie definitely works as an ending to the Lethal Weapon franchise. I think if they do decide to do a fifth one, I will watch it. I'm open to it. But I just, without Richard Donner, I don't know. So, but I really like Lethal Weapon 4. I know some people say, I've heard some people say it's the weakest. I disagree. I actually think, because remember, this was Chris Rock at his prime. This was when he was like in everything, especially anything to do with a comedy, he was in it. And I thought he was perfect in this movie. I didn't feel like he was playing Chris Rock at all. There was maybe some scenes, I can maybe see it a little bit. But I felt like, for the most part, he actually felt like he was playing a character. He didn't just feel like it was just Chris Rock. Because there's definitely movies, some of his movies, where he is just, even in his earlier movies, where, yeah, you're just being Chris Rock, just you have a different name. But in this, he actually felt like a character. I think they did a good job with that. All the praise is going to go to Jet Li. He was such a good bad guy in this. Not a lot of dialogue, too. Not needed. Just, and if it was, it's just, you be dead. That's really all his dialogue was. And if it was spoken in English. It was just done well. It's a well done film. So, and it really works as a finale in the franchise. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing 2 videos. Another Bands I Love, which will be on Soundgarden, which I said earlier. And then also, I will be reviewing Long Kiss Goodnight, since how bad I've been hearing Black Widow's been, and I just don't have the urge to watch it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch an assassin film I watched when I was much younger and hadn't watched in years. So I rewatched Long Kiss Goodnight this past Friday, and it was a really well done movie. I think it's a fun action film, and this is honestly what Black Widow should have been. Not all the aspects about it, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow, but just certain aspects. But other than that, I'm going to take my last hit. Lethal Weapon 4 is badass. So, that's all I got to say about that. But fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. I'm gonna have this in too now from now on. Fuck LeBron James, or as I call him, La Bitch. And fuck James Mangold and fuck Wondering.net. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Lethal Weapon 4 is great. Peace.